If I put $2,000 in front of you right now, I could probably predict how you run ads. Because the reason ads scare you has nothing to do with ads itself, it's how you see money. In this video, I will break down how you can change your view on money to get more profitable ads. And I know it sounds wild, but I promise you, if you have the feeling that ads are stressing you out, then this video will put your business in a much better position. Now, before we start, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Gustav and I run ads for info products making upwards of 300k a month. So if you operate below that, this video will give you some insights to use. Spending money on ads all comes down to how you yourself perceive money. Now, what do I mean with this and how does it affect you? Let's pretend that I put $20 in front of you. What do you think of it? Do you think it thinks anything of you? It doesn't. But for some, $20 means enough to get food for the day. For some, $20 means saving money to an emergency fund. And for you, it might not mean that much. But what if I put $2,000 in front of you? Would you be more emotionally attached to them? Most people would feel something change in their body the moment the number gets bigger. Because with $20, there's little to no emotion, but with $2,000, you'd probably feel tension, attachment, and a need to protect it. And that protection instinct often comes with a fear of losing it. What's funny is that the money didn't change. You did. $20 and $2,000 are the same thing in a different quantity. And the paper itself doesn't carry emotion, meaning, or risk. It's just a tool for moving value around. But because $2,000 represents more stored value, most people treat it like it has personality, almost like it can judge them, even though it literally has zero fucking emotions. The shift from seeing money as neutral to seeing money as emotionally loaded is exactly what is causing people to sabotage themselves with ads. Because when you run ads, you're not just buying customers, you're buying information, you're buying speed, you're buying the abilities to see what the market actually responds to instead of what you hope it to respond to. And if you see money as scarce or limited, you start treating that information like it's too expensive to collect, which is insane because without information, you're stuck guessing, which is the exact reason why you probably haven't scaled yet. Trying to scale ads while being emotionally attached to the spend is like trying to fall asleep while checking the clock every 5 minutes. The more you check, the more aware you become. The more aware you become, the harder it is to relax. And the harder it is to relax, the longer it takes for you to fall asleep. You do not let campaigns get time. You don't let patterns form, and you don't let data work together. You're reacting to your fear of money being scarce instead of letting the process do its job. And here's what emotional attachment looks like in practice when a coach runs ads. You launch a new creative, you check results after 12 to 24 hours, and you decide it isn't working even though you haven't even let the algorithm find the right pockets of people yet. You turn it off, not because the data is set to, but because seeing a few $100s spent without immediate reward makes you uncomfortable. Approach tip here, always let things run at least 72 hours. It could also be you seeing one day where cost per lead jumps and you start thinking meta is broken or people are tired of offers. And now you're rewriting your VSL or rebuilding your funnel because one day it didn't go the way, even though the same campaign could have corrected itself over the next 48 to 72 hours if you just let it breathe. It's like trying to grow a plant while digging it up every morning to check if the roots has been developed. You don't need more checking, but you need more time and consistent conditions. The thing is that emotionally attached people can't tolerate that because they confuse patience with passivity and they confuse stability with risk. One of the biggest misconceptions coaches have is that ads are supposed to feel safe. They aren't. Not because they are inherently risky, but because they operate through feedback loops. And feedback loops always feel uncertain when you don't have a stable relationship with numbers itself. And when I say numbers, I essentially mean data. Ads will have bad days, inconsistent lead flow, and temporary performance dips, and none of that means the strategy itself is wrong. It just means the systems need to correct themselves. So if you need ads to feel emotionally calm all the time, you'll design a business that never grows past the point where calm is guaranteed. That's the prison you'd build for yourself. And it's not just about the ad, about the spend itself. It's what the attachment does to your thinking. When you are emotionally attached, you stop asking the right questions because the right questions require you to tolerate discomfort. Instead of thinking, what is the constraint? You think, how do I make this cheaper or how do I save more money? Instead of thinking, what is this teaching me? You think, how can I stop losing money? And the entire mental posture changes from building to protecting. And protecting is a terrible strategy when you're trying to scale, because scaling by definition means you're going to be wrong more often, faster, in public, with money attached to it. The goal isn't to avoid being wrong. The goal is to find out what's right quickly and reliably enough, and that requires a lot of wrongs before rights. That's why I say money doesn't disappear. It moves and it shapes form. When you spend on ads, you're not lighting cash on fire. You're converting money into information. Sometimes that information shows up as profit. Sometimes it shows up as constraints. And sometimes it shows up as a painful truth you've been avoiding. Like your offer isn't clear, or your positioning isn't strong, or your VSL does not hold attention, or that your sales process is dog shit. And that's exactly why ads feels like a mirror, because the mirror doesn't lie and it doesn't comfort you. It doesn't care how badly you want something to be true. A lot of coaches think they have an ads problem, when in reality they have a message problem, an offer problem, a delivery problem, or a sales problem. And ads just happen to be the thing that exposes this the fastest. Now let's talk about the consequences, because this is what I call locked potential, and this is where this comes into the picture. If you are too emotionally attached to spend, you'll almost always cap yourself at the level where you can still personally babysit the system. You'll keep spend low enough that the risks doesn't scare you, which also means you'll keep volume low enough that you never get clean statistical signal. You'll constantly be in the worst possible zone. Enough spent to feel painful, not enough spent to learn properly. When you don't have enough volume, you are trying to draw conclusions with the naked eye. With enough volume, you finally have a microscope. Nothing really changed about the reality, only your ability to see it clearly. This is why small spend is not always safer. Sometimes it's more dangerous because it makes you overreact to randomness. And over time, the cost isn't your money you lose. The cost is what you could have achieved in the same time frame, but hasn't because you haven't acted on it. And this is where the 1,000 a month versus a 100,000 a month example comes visible. You aren't stuck because you lack potential. You're stuck because you're being emotionally attached to exactly where you are, and if you do not break that attachment, you'll stay there. Which is why the same coach can spend $2,000 and get 20 leads and feel amazing, but the moment they try to spend $10,000 and lead quality fluctuates or sales calls become slightly more inconsistent, they panic and retreat because the discomfort tells them this is unsafe, even though the reality is just you found the next bottleneck and you need to fix this shit. The bottleneck is the point. It's the thing you're supposed to find and fix. Emotionally attached people avoid bottlenecks like they're failures when they're exactly the most valuable thing scaling gives you, because bottlenecks tells you exactly where to build and improve next. And most people claim they're data driven, but you can tell instantly if they are not by watching what they do when scaling requires discomfort. A data-driven person looks at risk and asks what it's pointing towards. An emotionally attached person looks at risk and asks, how do I make this stop? And that's why they'd rather pocket an extra $10,000 than risk spending it to unlock the next $100,000, because the next level requires them to become a different operator, not just spend more. In my opinion, that's not being smart with money. That's being emotionally attached to it. So the real question is not whether your ads are working. The question is whether you are losing money by protecting it too tightly and calling it responsibility when it's actually avoidance of scaling. I've personally lost a lot of money to this mindset, and therefore this video has meant a lot for me to make and get out there. So I really appreciate you watching this video, and I also hope this will give some thoughts to your business. Because if you want me to run your ads, I open spots once in a while in my agency. I only work with info products doing above 25k a month that are ready to spend at least $5,000 on ads, because at that level you can actually run proper tests, find real bottlenecks and scale. So if that's you, DM me on IG and tell me whether you run a VSL funnel, a follower funnel, or just a mix. Thank you for watching, and I see you in the DMs.